Welcome to Wrestler of the Week, Week 2. Pretty much works like this. If you are a professional wrestler and you made the most impact in the industry in the last 7 days, you will be declared, in my opinion, the Wrestler of the Week. So I figured here on out I was going to choose 5 male and female wrestlers and rank them and tabulate them for the Wrestler of the Year award at the end of the year, but then I realized a couple things. One, we are in a wrestling boom where there are several great promotions out there putting on great wrestling, male and female. And we are also on the road to WrestleMania. So we're going to stick with a weekly top 10 of male and female wrestlers. We'll rank them the same as last week, week 1. And again, everything will be calculated and tabulated. And whoever has the most points at the end of the year will be named male and female wrestler of the year. If you want to see what I use as criteria for Wrestler of the Week, I do suggest for you to check out my Week 1 video. And let's get right into it with the women. First, some honorable mentions. Julia Hart, who is the current TBS Women's Champion, was heavily involved in AEW television, whether it be with her House of Black faction or involved in the angle between her, Sky Blue, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander. Mercedes Martinez and Diamante both won matches to advance in the Ring of Honor Women's Television Title Tournament. Ruby Soho is continuing her angle and build on AEW television, specifically with Angelo Parker. Also, unbelievably, I missed a major Stardom show last week, Stardom Supreme Fight 2024, and I want to show some love to Mai Sarah and Hazuki, who had a banger and legit match of the year candidate for the High Speed Championship, and Micah, who retained the World of Stardom Championship against Saya Kamitani in a great match of their own. And now the top 10 picks for Wrestler of the Week for the women. At number 10 is Chelsea Green, who won a match on Main Event against Tegan Nox, and that may not seem like a big deal, but really the most important thing with Chelsea Green is she has been highly entertaining and has made the most of every segment and opportunity given to her this week, especially. At number 9 is WWE Women's Champ Io Sky, who cut a very good promo on SmackDown this week. And it was nice to see the damage control angle between them and Bayley shift its focus back on the champion. Io Sky is one of the best in the world and needs to be recognized as such. And this was a good return to form for her. At number 8 is Jade Cargill, who it may seem like there wasn't much in the way of her in Impact, until you remember she was part of a major Super Bowl commercial. And she also had another major appearance on SmackDown, and it is clear WWE believes Jade is a star and is positioning her in that direction. At number 7, we have our first tie for the women, and that's between TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace and Giselle Shaw. Grace won a very good match on Impact against Savannah Evans, but the big moment was Giselle Shaw turning on Savannah Evans herself, and it will be interesting to see how that split plays out and how she will make her intentions known for Jordynne Grace's TNA Knockouts title. At number 6, we have a 3-way tie between Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, and Women's World Champ Rhea Ripley, who continued their hot angle and build towards both Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. They have all done a very good job of making the audience care for all three, including making Nia Jax really hated. Yes, some of that is so-called X-Pac heat, but WWE has done a really good job of leading into it, and it's only helped Rhea and Becky get cheered even more, and fans are salivating over the potential and seemingly inevitable WrestleMania showdown between Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. Willow Nightingale comes in at number 5, who won a good match against Sky Blue while building towards a feud with TBS Women's Champ Julia Hart. We are also seeing a bit of evolution in character as we see her interactions with Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, who doesn't mind cheating to help Willow win, even though Willow does not want his help. At number 4 is the number 1 contender for the AEW Women's title, Deonna Purrazzo, who defeated Kiera Hogan last week on Collision and had a very good promo on Dynamite to build to her match with timeless Toni Storm at Revolution. We have a 3-way tie at number 3 between Liv Morgan, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton, who all won matches and qualified for the Elimination Chamber and will join Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, who have already qualified in Perth, Australia. Each were also featured heavily in WWE television in some way. At number 2 is Queen Aminata, who had a major week. She had a very good match in a losing effort against timeless Toni Storm, then defeated J-Rod to advance in the Ring of Honor Women's Television Title Tournament, and also defeated Anna Jay on Dynamite. But the icing on the cake was the official announcement that she officially signed with AEW, and there will be a lot of eyeballs to see what she does with the next chapter of her young career. And the female wrestler of the week is AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm, who had a crazy busy 7 days. First, defeating Queen Aminata on Collision last week, and then going on a string of amazing promos all week on AEW television to build her match with Deonna Purrazzo at AEW Revolution, culminating with the absolutely hilarious and great short film Wet Ink. Timeless Toni Storm has got a hold on her character in a way most wrestlers dream of, and I still believe her best years are still ahead of her. But here we had a pretty clear winner, as Timeless Toni Storm is the female wrestler of the week. And now we get to the men and some honorable mentions. Darby Allin cut a great promo against the Young Bucks on Dynamite. TNA champion Moose defeated Kushida on TNA Impact and debuted his new faction. Shinsuke Nakamura won the Raw main event against Sami Zayn and had a great promo against him. Will Ospreay had his final New Japan Pro Wrestling match. It was a banger. And also this week on Dynamite, a match was announced with him going up against Konosuke Takeshita. The Young Bucks are still heavily involved in a big angle with Darby Allin and Sting. They won a match against Private Party and continue to build on that angle by almost putting Tony Schiavone in the EVP trigger before he was saved by Darby Allin. Frankie Kazarian is building his credibility as a big-time heel in TNA and is continuing his brewing feud with Eric Young. And Baron Corbin won the NXT Tag Titles with Braun Breaker on this past week's NXT. Now we get into the men and the top 10 wrestlers of the week. Okay, so number 10, I admit, is wild. But this was an amazing week for promos, and I need to recognize them all. First, on Dynamite, there was a great 3-way promo between AEW World Champion Samoa Joe and number 1 contenders Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page that culminated in Joe basically cutting everyone down. Monday Night Raw opened with a great Cody Rhodes promo that morphed into one of Seth freaking Rollins' all-time best promos, while WWE television has allowed time for both Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn to develop their characters as well. Drew McIntyre as the honest heel, and Sami Zayn channeling his inner Mick Foley. There was no way I could ignore anyone here. Great job all around. At number 9 is AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy, who continues to be one of AEW's workhorses, defeating Ishii at last week's Collision to retain his international title, then defeating Matt Taven in a wild, hardcore brawl. Orange Cassidy continues to be one of AEW's most over acts and is always heavily featured on AEW television. R-Truth is at number 8, and Truth has been heavily featured on WWE television for a while now, with his hilarious interactions with the Judgment Day and the fact that he is one of WWE's biggest merch sellers. But this week, Truth was especially involved in WWE TV. First, being officially kicked out of the Judgment Day on Monday Night Raw in a major segment, and then involving himself in Dominic Mysterio's match against Kevin Owens that Mysterio lost and made Kevin Owens qualify for the Elimination Chamber. It is clear R-Truth is on a collision course with the Judgment Day for WrestleMania, most likely a tag match with Awesome Truth against Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the WWE Unified Tag Team Championship. At number 7, we have Jon Moxley, who had a very busy week. First, he and Claudio won a tag match against CMLL's Esfinge and Star Jr. while building their feud with FTR. Mox also won a very good match against Dax Harwood on Dynamite. Moxley has been heavily featured on AEW television more than anyone else in this feud, and that is why he is getting the number 7 spot on his own. Jey Uso is ranked at number 6. He was on the winning team and even scored the pinfall in a match between he and the New Day against Imperium, which builds momentum for him as he is set for his Intercontinental title match against Gunther on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. At number 5, we have a 4-way tie between Kevin Owens, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, and Logan Paul, who all qualified for the Elimination Chamber and will join Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre in the Chamber match in Australia. Number 4 is Daniel Garcia, who was heavily featured on AEW television all week. On last week's Collision, he won a very good match against Shane Taylor before getting an Adam Copeland's face in regards to gunning for Christian's TBS title. Then he and Copeland had a very good match on AEW Dynamite that went to a no contest because of interference by the Patriarchy. Daniel Garcia has taken the momentum from his performance in the AEW Continental Classic and has run with it to become even more over. Garcia has only scratched the surface of his potential, but he is finally getting it. At number 3, we have Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson in a tie, who simply had the match of the week. An absolute banger and legit match of the year contender at New Japan's The New Beginning in Osaka. If you haven't seen the match, go find it and come back here. You're welcome. These guys are amazing, and I am now salivating for the rubber match between these two as Danielson and Sabre each hold a victory on each other. Let's go. Let's get to that third match. At number 2 is Braun Breaker, who had a major week. First, he and Baron Corbin won the NXT tag titles from the D'Angelo family on this past week's NXT in the main event, and then he officially signed to SmackDown this past Friday. Now that Braun has a permanent home, it will be interesting to see how he develops. WWE is going to run a dual angle with him being on both NXT and SmackDown, and WWE only does this for a few select talents. So it's clear and exciting to see WWE strap a rocket on the second generation star. The math adds up. Braun is going to be a huge deal. And the wrestler of the week for the men is the Brahma Bull himself, The Rock, who not only was part of the major Super Bowl ad with Cody, Roman, and Seth, but he arrived on SmackDown as a full-blown heel as part of the Bloodline and absolutely decimated Salt Lake City, who booed him at first, but once Hollywood Rock opened his mouth, suddenly Salt Lake City busted out the Rocky chants, expertly showcasing that when The Rock turns it up, especially as a heel, there may be no one else that is on his level. Now The Rock has made the declaration that he will do everything in his power to prevent Cody Rhodes from defeating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and it is going to be absolutely engrossing to see how much The Rock goes scorched earth on the road to WrestleMania. But for week number 2, the male wrestler of the week is The Rock. And here are the week 2 rankings for the women and the men. And that is it for week number 2 of Wrestler of the Week. Do you agree with my rankings? Share your thoughts, leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.